Once more, welcome to podcast. Now, I'm Alex. In this video, I want to talk about Gal Gadot returning to Fast and Furious. At least that is the rumor. Now, funny enough, we called this. I made a video, obviously, last Friday. We talked about Fast and Furious 10. We talked about how Han's death, I think, really does mean kind of like an Avengers style, bringing everybody back together, including more characters that passed away. And the number one thing I said that Han's death coming back means is that I really do believe that means they're getting Gal Gadot back. I think that's very, very clearly the plan, and now here we go. We got spoilers might be returning for Fast and Furious 10 from WeGotThisCovered.com. So this is a reasonable website. They said, though, I'm going to read it out and then we'll talk about kind of an analysis of it. Though it may not be a comic book universe, the improbable Fast saga, which started out once upon a time a simple story about illegal street racing based on a Vibe magazine article, has since transmuted into a gleefully absurd spy-fi franchise, is no stranger to the phenomenon of comic book death. Already, the series has had deaths and returns. Michelle Rodriguez is Letty, obviously. Now we have Han, who was broadsided by Deckard Shaw in Fast and Furious 6. Okay, so now our sources, the same one who reported 6 months ago that Han would be returning. Now, I didn't know that. That would have been good to know on my part, but, we had kind of all called that anyway, right? So our sources, the same who did that, and that John Cena would be playing Dominic Toretto's brother, so they seem pretty accurate, both of which since have been confirmed, have indicated that Universal Pictures is eager to bring back yet another deceased character from beyond the grave for one last ride in the franchise's 10th and final installment, or pair of installments, which we're going to be talking about in tomorrow's video, actually. Another casualty of Fast and Furious 6 was Giselle, played by Gal Gadot in her pre-Wonder Woman days. Apparently, Universal wants her back for the next installment. We've heard no specifics yet on how she might return or what part she might have, but the answer may actually have been hinted at the aforementioned spin-off featuring frenemies Luke Hobbs and Deckard Shaw. So I think they're going more along the lines of how they kind of did those like genetically altered soldiers pretty much. I feel like that's what they're kind of going for. We don't necessarily know that Han had that done to him, but because I guess we are living in a Fast and Furious world where that's like a thing, right? So we had that happen in Hobbs and Shaw where basically that mysterious voice guy, whoever it ends up being, if it's Kurt Russell's character, that would be phenomenal. I know a lot of people have kind of predicted that, but you have all of that stuff going on with the whole, again, like kind of genetically engineering, making people super soldiers, basically making, the movie franchise has gone, it really has. I agree with that beginning. It's gone from this more, not necessarily gritty, but more like ground level, street races. So now it's like, okay, Hobbs, or, The Rock, Hobbs is literally holding down a helicopter, and you have characters in this trailer literally like holding, or like stopping a car or grabbing a car when it's flying at. So like you have some pretty ridiculous things. Now, again, I think as these movies have gone on, as they've gained popularity, we've just kind of accepted it. I think it does maybe take away from some of the more groundedness, but honestly, Fast 7 with like Paul Walker really proved that the series has heart. And I think Fast 6 did that too when we lost Han and Giselle. I was crushed. That's a big thing. Now, bringing them back, that does take away from that. I do believe that. But at this point, it is kind of more about just bringing the family back together. And that doesn't mean they can't eliminate some people. I definitely want to talk about that leading in to like Fast 10, whether it's 1 or 2 parts. I do think people will end up being taken out. I don't think it would be the characters being brought back, but I do think they could still eliminate some people. But this makes total sense. Again, we talked about it last Friday. This has been something that I think I've predicted for a very long time. If you have Han coming back, there's no reason why you shouldn't bring Giselle back. Now, based off of that rumor, it means she would not return until Fast 10. Okay, whether it's part 1, part 2. So it could be a year or two until that happens. Is that going to be weird in Fast 9 that you have Han, but then you wait an entire, another movie to introduce Giselle back? It could be. At the same time, not everybody watches trailers. Not everybody knows the whole lead up. So they see, and maybe even if they do, right? They see Han in this trailer. They're like, what? Is this that? And some people don't even know, right? Because a lot of people, I think, did jump on like Fast 7 and on with the whole Paul Walker situation. I think 7 was a starting point for a lot of people. Now, for me, I had originally watched like the first one, but then I really jumped on at like Fast 5, continued on, and then I went back and watched the other. So I started at Fast 5, but not everybody does that, right? So what I'm basically trying to say is maybe introducing Han on his own is enough, and people are already going to have questions. It's already going to be enough of a plot device in Fast 9 to say, okay, here's why he's back, here's how he's back, and let's bring him back into the family, right? And then obviously you have every other thing that they're trying to do in that movie. So Han by himself could be enough. And then in 10, you say, okay, well, now here's Giselle. Here's Gal Gadot. She's back because of whatever, because she was, she fell out of a plane, but then maybe she was still alive and they genetically engineered. And basically what would be funny is she would kind of be like Wonder Woman, right? If she would be like this genetically engineered human, and she'd have like maybe these robotic things. She'd be like that. Maybe she would be actually controlled by the villain. So maybe she would actually be a villain role, and then Han and the group has to get her back, right? I think she's probably not looked at as much of the family as everybody else because she hasn't been consistently in them, and she was kind of taken before the family really took off, I'd say. So that may be a thing, right? It also may be like, well, do we really need to bring her back? It's going to be interesting how they do it, but I think that if she's going to be like genetically engineered, I would assume she'd be working for like the bad guys. Because again, they have like those chips in their head that they're basically like telling them what to do. So she may kind of be like brainwashed. It could very much be like a Letty situation where she doesn't remember certain things, right? So she's actually an enemy. So there's a lot. I mean, they could have her be part of the villains, which would be a huge spin on things because it's like, well, I guess in 8 we kind of had Dom going for the being a villain, and it was like, oh, we've never seen the part of the family being an enemy before, but now we have. So it could be like that again. But again, this is an absolute no-brainer. I typed in Fast and Furious to see any news. I'm very, very happy that this is like a thing that we predicted it. I've called it for a very long time. I've said that they absolutely need to do it. I think it would be absolutely amazing to bring Gal Gadot back. It's perfect timing with her literally being at the peak with Wonder Woman 2, and then Wonder Woman in general. I guess Wonder Woman 2. And then to do that in Fast 10, and now to have these rumors, same people that I guess have gotten some things very, very right, that definitely adds to it and makes me even more happy. So guys, let me know in the comments below, what do you think? Are you excited about Gal Gadot's potential return as Giselle? How do you think they would use her? How do you think she would be back? Let me know all that stuff in the comments below. Make sure you guys are subscribed to this YouTube channel. As you can see, we do Fast and Furious content, and I want to do it way more often on this channel. So if you guys are here for Fast and Furious content, don't worry, because yes, we do a whole lot of other stuff. I make tons of videos every single week, but I love Fast and Furious, and leading up to 9, I'll be covering any big news. We'll be talking about trailers. We'll be talking about the movie leading up into Fast 9, and then, post-movie coverage as well. So lots of Fast and Furious content on this channel. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all on the next video.